Okay, this was the January 13th, 2012 SAT question of the day email. The length of a rectangle S is 20% longer than the length of rectangle R. So two rectangles, S and R. And the width of rectangle S is 20% shorter than the width of rectangle R. The area of rectangle S is, and you can see the choices. So length of rectangle S is 20% longer than the length of rectangle R. So R is going to be a little bit longer. No, R is going to be a little bit shorter than rectangle S. And then width of S is going to be 20% shorter than the width of rectangle R. R is shorter in length, but wider in width than S. So maybe approximately like that. We're asked to find out what the area of rectangle S is. Is it 20% greater, 4% greater, equal to, less than, 20% less than the area of rectangle R? So let's say the length of rectangle S, L of S and L of R, trying to keep the length with the letter L, and the width of rectangle S, W of S, W of R. And all you have to do is convert the words in the question to an equation. So, the length of rectangle S is 20% longer than the length of rectangle R. So if I say that something is 20% more, what I want to say is 0.2, so the decimal equivalent of 20% times something, is how much more it is. But to find out the total amount that you are more, you have to add that amount plus 20% times that amount. And there's a 1 out here, where the star is how much of something you got. So that means that 1.2 times star is what you mean in math when you say I'm 20% more than something else. So the length of S is 1.2 times the length of rectangle R. So that's one equation. And then the width of rectangle S, so W of S, is 20% shorter than the width of rectangle R. So when I say I'm 20% shorter, similar thing, I'm something star here, but I'm 20% shorter, so 0.2, 0.2 I can write here, times star. So 1 times star minus 0.2 times star is 0.8 times that star. So now what you've got is the width of rectangle S is 20% shorter, so 0.8 times the width of rectangle R. Now I can write the area of rectangle S, length times width. It's the formula for the area of rectangle S, so L of S times W of S. Now we have equations right up here that we can use. So that's L of S is 1.2 times L of R times 0.8. I can do this to keep it nice and neat. Width of rectangle R. If you multiply this out, you should see that the length of rectangle S times the width of rectangle S, which is the area of rectangle S, call it rect S, equals 1.2 times 0.8 times the length of rectangle R times the width of rectangle R. So remember, these came from the words. This is the definition of area, and this right here is the area of rectangle R. Length of R times the width of rectangle R. So what I get is the length of rectangle S times the width of rectangle S, or actually that's the area of rectangle S. Area of S, we'll say, is 0.8 times 1.2 is 0.96 times the area of R. So now if you look at this for a second, that was a little bit too much. If you look at this for a second, remember 1 times star is 100%. So if this were 1, area of S would be equal to the area of R. This is less than 1, and it's less than 1 by 0.04. And all we need to know is that if you convert that to a percent, that's 4% less than 100%. So that's 4 tenths hundredths less than 1. So the right answer is the area of rectangle S is 4% less than the area of rectangle R, because the multiplier was 0.96. So the correct answer is D.